Next speaker, Anne Marie Banfield from Cornerstone.
Good morning. For the record, Anne Marie Banfield with Cornerstone Action. I kind of want to just, before I start, remind everybody what Commissioner Berry had told this committee about a month ago, that no superintendent in the state wants to administer the Smarter Balanced except for one. Obviously, our superintendents see a real issue with this. And that $4 million was spent in Nashua on computers that are going to be outdated, what, in 2 years? Woo. We come here in support of 603. Almost daily, I receive emails from parents who are informing me that their school administrator is attempting to deny them their parental rights by rejecting their notification to opt out of the Smarter Balance. Some parents in New Hampshire do not want their children taking the Common Core assessments for various reasons. They're citing privacy concerns, data collection, psychometric testing. As you know, several months ago, I made an inquiry to Commissioner Berry, I believe I copied all of you on it, on parental rights to refuse the standardized assessment. The technical advisory was issued, and I thought this would actually clear up the confusion, although it seems to be adding to the confusion. And in that technical advisory, it says, there are no laws in the state of New Hampshire or rules at the New Hampshire Department of Education that would penalize a student for not participating in the statewide assessment. Additionally, the same is true if a parent determines that they would not allow their child to participate. So they have the right to refuse. This is a parental right. This is not something that the government or anybody on a school board or a legislator grants us. This is a fundamental right that we have as parents. This seems easy to understand, yet many parents have been saying that their school administrators are telling them that they have no right to opt out their children from these Smart Balance assessments. Some parents are also being told that they need to take a formal request directly to the Department of Education to ask permission to opt out of this assessment. I want to be clear that many of the parents are in no way seeking permission from any government organization to exercise their parental authority. However, they are concerned by the disregard for parental rights. Will the school ignore their refusal and force that child to take this assessment if they attend school that day? This is a concern parents are now facing. HB 603 puts into statute clarity. The No Child Left Behind testing and accountability craze has left school districts battling with parents instead of collaboratively on matters involving their children. Some of this week's bills that were proposed were examples of parents trying to take back their fundamental rights. I believe this is a result of a system that was once based on mutual respect that has seriously and systematically deteriorated. Schools are now in this race to meet participation rates, and parents are trying to protect their children from methods that are clearly harming many children. I'm going to submit an article called 8th Grade Science Teacher Compares Common Core to Child Abuse. Thousands of parents are now refusing to allow their children to take the Common Core assessments in New York. Why? Because teachers are speaking out. They're doing it in our own state. New York is about a year ahead of New Hampshire in administering Common Core assessments, and the resistance is not only coming from parents, but from teachers. Teachers are speaking out to the damage that these assessments are doing to their children, and started a group called the Teachers of Conscience Movement. The movement has just begun in New Hampshire, and teachers like Kelly Tamboris in Manchester has described the negative impact that these assessments are having on children in the Manchester schools. I met with a principal this week in one of your districts, and I keep information confidential when I meet with them, but I can tell you it's in one of your districts. And his biggest concern was that children will feel stupid when they take these assessments, and commented on how the teachers with graduate degrees were having trouble figuring out some of the math questions. You've all, I'm sure, have seen them. I know that last year many parents presented some of these examples. Why? Because the questions are confusing the teachers with graduate degrees. And he knew there was no way a child could figure out what is being asked of them. Teachers are now describing Common Core assessments as a setup for failure. And within this testimony, there is a link to teachers who are speaking out, and they called this a setup for failure. Parental rights are affirmed in the U.S. Constitution, and the Supreme Court has upheld those rights. Your duty is to uphold the rights of parents. Government does not grant us those rights. You are to uphold them, whether you sit on a school board or whether you are an elected legislator. These rights are to be upheld, and we're not seeing that. We're seeing systematic parental rights be eroded. I am also going to submit a notice from a parent in Hudson who's the school is speaking back, not allowing them to opt out. For people who are concerned about, can my child actually be, how do we know that my child's learning? I'm going to just read one sentence from a teacher who is in New Hampshire, who lives in New Hampshire and teaches in a different district. And she's opting her son out of the assessments. And she writes to them, they can be assessed with performance-based assessments, teacher-made materials, portfolios, and project-based assessments. So there are ways that parents will know whether their children are learning or not. I just encourage you to start looking at this legislation. We had legislation earlier this week on parental rights. Your duty is to uphold them, affirm them. That's what the Supreme Court does. That's what we do with legislation. This is not a local control issue, as some would argue. This is a parental rights issue, and that comes whether from the federal government, the state government, or the local government. I thank you.
Thank you very much. Any questions? Let me remind you that it's 20 past 10.